These are 5 of the best solo builds in the mist right now. And if you are not running one of these, you'll probably make your life a lot harder than it needs to be. Hey, what's up Bloody Knights? Welcome back, and if this is your first time here, welcome to NoobToKnight. Appreciate you giving this video a shot out of everything else out there. Today we are going through 5 of the best builds you can run in solo mist right now. Let's get right into it. So for the first build we are using Paws with Mercenary, Jacket of Tenacity, and a Smuggler cape. For food, my pick is Paws, and for potion we're using Healing Potion. For the weapon levels we are going Q on the third one, W on the second one, and passive also on the first one for more damage over time. Now let me talk about some things important about the weapon. A couple of things you actually need to pay attention to win this weapon. In combat, don't just throw out all 3 hits on your Q back to back. The cooldown you get after the 3rd hit just isn't worth it. If you land 2 hits, wait for it to reset, and throw 2 hits again, you get way more DPS over time than if you're commit to the full 3 hits combo and then sit there waiting for your Q to come off cooldown. Only go for the full 3 hits when you actually need it. Now let's talk about why the rest of the kit is set up this way. For helmet we are using Mercenary. It gives you a potential to counter some casters. It also helps you to keep your distance when you're kiting or chasing enemy because it's a slow enemy. And also you can use it against some nuke builds like dual sword because it's reduced enemies damage income by 30% for 4 seconds. So it's not just a utility, it's a real defensive answer to burst damage. If someone's winding up something scary, this is your button to shut it down. For the chest, we're using Jacket of Tenacity, its ability on reflection and passive on the cooldown reduction. Also, we use the passive cooldown reduction for helmet too. And here's why we're using reflection. Paws is a stick to target build. You're going to be taking a lot of hits back while you're in someone's face. So reflection punishes anyone who keep attacking you instead of respecting your damage. For the shoes, we are just using any kind of shoes on refreshing screen plus the cooldown reduction passive, but the best shoes is the Shoes of Tenacity because it's made with Avalonian artifact, and Avalonian artifact items give you 100 more IP than the other items. So more IP gives you more stats. That's it. For seeing more footage about how to play those builds, you can check the description. I mentioned a few videos on YouTube about those builds, and you can see them to learn how to really play these builds in real situations. I hope you enjoy the entire video. Now you're looking at the Deathgivers build, using Deathgivers with Fiend, Merc Jacket, Smuggler cape. For food, again Paws, but you can use other alternative like LS2 with soup swap. It's just a solid pick across the board, and you can use Healing Pot for potion. On weapon, we're going Q on the second one, W on the first one, and passive on the first one for more damage over time. Few notes on how to actually play this. That first W isn't just a responsive tool, it's giving you movement speed and a damage buff at the same time. So use it proactively to close distance or extend a chase, not just when you are already in trouble. Here's a trick a lot of people miss with this ability. You don't need an enemy player to proc it. While you're kiting someone and don't wanna to commit to a fight yet, use this W on a wild creature or animal on the map instead. You get the speed buff and you can disengage from the creature fight almost instant without ever entering a real combat with the player. And if you're running Paws, this matters even more, since you're staying out of combat. While doing this, you're regenerating faster than your opponent the whole time. And depending on what build they're running, the regen gap can genuinely add up in your favor before the real fight even starts. But if you want a more aggressive version of this build, swap your W to dash instead. You lose the speed plus damage combo, but you gain a flat 15% damage buff and a free dash to any spot you pick, which is great for dodging some dangerous mid-fight abilities like Wildfire Staff, Chill Hall, and some spells like this you can dodge with jump. Now for the rest of the gear. Helmet is Fiend. The reason for this one is Purge. This build whole game plan is staying on top of someone and out-damaging them. So if they pop a defensive buff like Merc Jacket or any temporary buff that's keeping them alive, Cowl lets you rip it off them and keep your pressure going instead of stalling out against their cooldown. We're using Merc Jacket for the chest, specifically for Bloodlust. Since Deathgivers is such a fast damage over time heavy weapon, you are already dealing consistent damage. Bloodlust turn that damage into healing for you, so as long as you're hitting them, you're sustaining yourself at the same time, which is exactly what a fast tempo build like this need to not run out of steam. Shoes are Sandal with Energy Sprint. This build burns through mana fast because of how often you're using abilities. So Energy Sprint solving your energy problem matters more here than any mobility ability would. Third build, Esper with Cultist Cowl, Assassin Jacket, and Smuggler Cape, Torch, and food here we're using Alphas 2 again, but you can choose other alternative that I said in the previous build. For weapons we go Q on the first one, W on the third, one as the defensive and passive on the first one for more crowded control. Here's where it gets interesting. This weapon real flexibility on W slot and knowing when to swap its ability, basically the whole skill expression of this build. If you're up against someone with one big important cast, a burst combo, a key stun, whatever their kill window depends on, swap your W to reflect, timing it right can completely flip that fight in your favor. If you're playing against someone who runs or resets a lot, Impaler is the better pick since it lets you kite and keep chasing at the same time instead of just relying on your base kit. Now for the armor pieces and why each one's chosen. For helmet we are using Cultist Cowl as a default, and the reason is it punishes anyone who damage comes mostly from abilities or constant auto-attacking, so casters and dual source players specifically get hit harder by this pick. Chest is Assassin Jacket for ambush. The reason here is repositioning. SPR already gives you a lot of way to control a fight through its W swap. So ambush adds one more layer, like something dangerous like bullet caster ultimate, or just making a gap to getting regen when you're trying to get out of combat in a fight, or some situation like this. It's a real goal. Shoes. The default is refreshing sprint for the mobility and cooldown reduction, since this build wants to keep cycling its ability swaps as fast as possible. Fourth build, Polehammer with Cowl of Purity, Armor of Valor, and Smuggler Cape. Food, Illus 2 this time, more damage and lower cooldowns. And for potion, of course we're using Healing Pots, but you have other alternative with this build because you have a good CC, you can use Hellfire Potion too. And weapon levels, Q on the first one, W on the second one, and passive on the third one for life steal, or you can switch if you feel you're going out of energy on the second one to regenerate your energy with your auto attacks. A couple of details that actually matters here. That second W is your entire kite's mobility, like engage, disengage, chase, escape. It does all of this. So don't just save it for emergencies, use it to proactively to control the range of the fight and keeping your distance with your enemy if needed. For your potion, you can swap Healing Potion to Hellfire. The damage isn't different with Poison, but the point is Hellfire cuts the enemy healing received by 50%. And because this weapon has a reliable stun on E, landing that potion while they are locked down is easy against anyone running sustain. That one swap alone can decide the fights. Now the rest of the gear. Helmet's Call of Purity, we use it for interruption and keep the enemy on combat when he tries to kite or sometimes we are kiting. Chest is Armor of Valor for reflection. Same idea as the helmet. This weapon wants to hold it ground rather than run. So reflection punish anyone who keeps attacking into you instead of respecting your stance. Sandal of Purity with energy sprint. This build has a real energy demands because how often you're using stun and mobility W, so solving that energy problem outright is more valuable here than any other put ability would be. Last build, Frost Staff with Layering Cane, Cowl of Purity, Assassin Jacket, and a Smuggler Cape. Food, Ovo Stew, Oil Stew, both work fine for damage, and always keep soup in your bag as a swap for healing outside of combat. For weapon levels, Q on the third one, W on the third one, passive on the first one for more crowded control. This build plays completely different from the other four, so pay attention. Every part of the kite is built to stack control on the top of control. The offhand, Layering Cane is picked specifically because it adds even more crowded control plus cooldown reduction on top of what your weapon already gives you, so you are almost never far from your next CC ability. Now let's talk about the rest of the build. We're using Call of Purity for interrupting the cast and dealing more damage from distance we play. Chest is Assassin Jacket on ambush, and the reasoning here is that this build is entirely about kiting and controlling distance. So ambush is your out, dodge something dangerous, repositioning for a clear angle, or disengaging entirely if the fight's going wrong. And actually it's a good ability when you want to bait someone in the camps mobs, so it's a really good choice. For shoes, we are running any kind of shoes on refreshing spin for less cooldown, and yep, that's it. The whole build looks like that. The thing is, you should just use your abilities to kite enemy and makes the enemy crazy and destroy enemy patient. It will make a mistake and you can easily punish it because you have your kiting mobilities and other things in the bag.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.